The first sound I heard that morning wasn't the waves brushing against the shore or the seagulls calling above. It was the angry slam of my front gate. I rushed to the window and saw her again, Karen. The head of the HOA, with her clipboard in one hand and a smug grin stretched across her face. She stood glaring at my property like it was her sworn enemy. "Open up," she shouted, banging at my door. "This house is under HOA regulation. I need to inspect it right now." My heart pounded with anger, but I kept my voice calm. "Karen, this is my home. It's not under the HOA. I've told you before, this property is privately owned. You have no authority here." Her face twisted and she leaned in closer. "Don't play games with me. Everyone in this neighborhood follows my rules. You think you're special just because your house is by the beach? If you don't let me in, I'll make sure you regret it." Before I could answer, she grabbed the handle and tried to force the door open. My wife Alina hurried from the living room, her voice sharp. "Get your hands off our door before I call the sheriff myself." Karen sneered. "Oh, don't worry. I'll be the one calling the cops. Let's see who they believe, a respected HOA leader or some stubborn old man." And just like that, she stormed off, her heels clacking down the driveway. I turned to Alina. She squeezed my hand. "Don't let her get to you, Michael. She's just looking for power." But deep inside, I knew this wasn't over. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing her threats echoing in my head. I had no idea that by morning, she'd bring more trouble to my doorstep than I ever imagined. The following afternoon, I was fixing a loose board on the deck when the sharp wail of sirens pierced the calm seaside air. My stomach dropped. 2 police cruisers rolled up in front of my home. Doors opened, and out stepped Karen with a look of pure triumph, pointing toward my house. "There he is. That's the man refusing to comply. He attacked me when I tried to perform an HOA inspection. I want him arrested immediately." I froze. Attacked her. My blood boiled. "That's a lie." I shouted from the porch. "She tried to break into my home yesterday. I never laid a hand on her." The officers glanced between us, uncertain. Karen clutched her chest dramatically, tears streaming down her face. "He's dangerous. Just look at him." My life was in danger. I could barely believe what I was hearing. For a moment, it seemed the officers were leaning her way. But then, a deeper voice rang out. "Hold it right there." A tall figure stepped out from the second cruiser. His uniform bore the insignia of a higher rank. He scanned the scene with piercing eyes, then looked directly at Alina, who had stepped out beside me. The officer's face froze. His hand trembled. Then, in a voice filled with shock and respect, he whispered, "Commander?" "Commander Alina Vasquez." My wife's eyes widened. She hadn't gone by that name in years. She had retired quietly, never seeking attention for the decades she had served. But in that moment, the truth could no longer stay hidden. Karen blinked, confused. "What are you talking about?" "She's nobody. She's just his wife." But the officer cut her off, his voice steady. "This woman is my former commanding officer. She led our unit during the toughest missions overseas. She saved lives. And you dare accuse her family of a crime?" The air grew thick with silence. Karen's fake tears dried instantly, her jaw falling open. I squeezed Elena's hand, my chest swelling with pride. For the first time, Karen had no words. The officer turned to his men. "Stand down. Nobody makes an arrest here today. In fact, I want a full report on this HOA's harassment claims." "This sounds like abuse of authority." Karen's face twisted with rage. "Abuse of authority? Me. You don't understand, this house is on our land. She's lying about who she is. You can't just take their word for it." Alina stepped forward, her voice calm but sharp as steel. "Karen, I've dealt with people like you in war zones. You think intimidation gives you control? But all it does is expose your weakness." Karen's hand shook with fury. "This isn't over. I'll have your property seized. You'll see." The officer raised a hand. "Enough. I suggest you leave before I charge you with filing a false police report." Karen hesitated, then spat on the ground and stormed off toward her car. The moment she was gone, the officer turned back to us, his eyes softer now. "Ma'am," he said to Alina, "I never expected to see you here. You were the reason many of us made it back home alive. If you ever need anything, this department has your back." Alina smiled faintly. I saw the glimmer of old pain in her eyes. "Thank you, Captain. But I'm retired now. I just want a peaceful life with my husband." The officer nodded, then looked at me. "Sir, you married one of the bravest women I've ever known. Take good care of her." As the cruisers pulled away, I held Alina close. "Why didn't you ever tell me the full story of what you did out there?" Her voice broke. "Because, Michael, some memories are too heavy to carry. I wanted this home, this life with you, to be free from all that." I kissed her forehead, whispering, "You don't have to carry it alone anymore. Not with me here." That night, as the waves rolled gently against the shore, I felt something stronger than fear or anger. I felt pride. Pride in my wife, pride in our love, pride in the life we had built together, despite the Karens of the world trying to tear it down. The next week, the HOA board sent Karen packing. After multiple complaints from neighbors and the police report, she was removed from her position. Word spread quickly about the stunt she had pulled, and her reputation shattered overnight. But that wasn't what stayed in my heart. What stayed with me was the night after everything ended. Alina and I sat on the porch, watching the sunset paint the sky with shades of gold and purple. I turned to her. "You know, all these years I thought I was protecting you. But the truth is, you've been protecting me all along." Tears welled in her eyes. "Michael, I never wanted medals or recognition. I just wanted peace. And you gave me that? Even if the past came back for a moment, I wouldn't trade this life for anything." We sat in silence, holding hands. The ocean breeze brushed against us, and I realized that sometimes the strongest warriors are the ones who simply choose love over war. For the first time in weeks, I felt completely safe. Not because the HOA was gone, not because Karen was exposed, but because I had Alina by my side. The lesson was clear. True strength isn't about power or control, it's about love, loyalty, and standing by each other when the world tries to break you down. So to anyone listening to our story, I'll say this: never underestimate the quiet strength of the person sitting beside you. Sometimes, the battles they've fought are far greater than you'll ever know. And when life throws its Karens your way, remember this: love will always outshine hate. This story is just the beginning. There is so much more ahead. Subscribe to the channel to join me on this journey.